Hello and welcome to our webinar. We will present to you today CytoProcessor version 3.3, our latest release. I'm 𝗪𝗔𝗆. I'm the CEO and founder of 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, and I'm today with 𝗪𝗵𝘆, our digital cytology expert, who will do a demonstration of this version live after a few slides that I will present. You can ask questions in the chat, and we will select questions and reply to them after the demonstration of Annette in the Q&A session before concluding. So first, a brief history of 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and CytoProcessor for people who don't know us already. We created 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 in 2011, and we focused directly on cytology and artificial intelligence for the cervical cancer screening. We got the CE-IVD label in 2017, and so we released our first CytoProcessor release for clinical routine, and it was the first AI solution on the market to screen cervical cancer at this time. In 2018, we installed our first customers in France. These customers were using 𝗵𝗁 diagnostics technology with a machine called IDC20. And we were using 3D histech scanners, the P250. In 2020, we adapted the solution to thin prep slides on the P1000 from 3D histech. This was done in Switzerland, and this site became a reference site for us. And by the way, this site was able to divide by 2 the turnaround time in their lab thanks to CytoProcessor. And now in 2024, we opened other countries like Austria, Germany, and Morocco, and I'm very proud today to introduce you to CytoProcessor version 3.3. So quickly, for people who don't know, what is CytoProcessor? CytoProcessor is a solution to help cytotechnologists and pathologists to screen cytology slides and find cervical cancer. As you can see on the screen here, this application automatically analyzes images coming from a slide scanner. It will detect, categorize, and sort cells into 4 categories. These 4 categories are presented into some galleries that you can see on the left part of the screen of CytoProcessor. These AI results can be clicked, and when you click on a cell in this gallery, the viewer, the microscope that you have on the right, will locate you on this cell for you to look at the cell in its context and make your diagnosis. We validated that with such a technology, you are able to diagnose more efficiently and also with a better sensitivity. So we had clinical trial to get the CE-IVD label on that. So CytoProcessor is unique because it's an open system. So we can adapt this solution to different configuration of cytology slide production. So for example, we started with the IDC20 from 𝗵𝗁 Diagnostics and the P250. And also we adapted then to what I said, the thin prep slides with a P1000 and 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 staining protocol. So that are configurations, and we adapt CytoProcessor to each configuration. This configuration, we get slides from it, examples, and we train our AI to be adapted to this configuration, and we create what we call a classifier. Our solution is easy to use because you just need a web browser to open CytoProcessor and look at the results. We are adaptable, we can integrate to your LIS and IMS, and we can adapt the IT infrastructure of the solution to your needs. For example, if you have a small or large volume, we will not use the same servers, and so we will design the infrastructure for you. So what is a standard workflow with CytoProcessor? So during the day, lab technicians will prepare slides, will stain them, and will load the scanner. Once the scanner is loaded, so generally at the end of the day, you push the button to start the scanning process, and the scan will run overnight. Each time a slide is scanned, an image is exported to the laboratory network where CytoProcessor is installed on the server. When the image is arriving on the server where CytoProcessor is installed, we detect a new image. We send an HL7 message to the LIS so that the LIS can add a link to visualize the image. Automatically, CytoProcessor will analyze the image, and when the results are ready, it will send a new message to the LIS to say, now you can also look at the results of CytoProcessor. So here again, we send a link to the LIS so that when you click on this link, you will open CytoProcessor on the results. You have to note that each slide image is very big, and so you can't keep all the slides. So you define a retention policy. For example, you want to keep your slides for 30 days. After 30 days, the slides are automatically deleted. And so here again, CytoProcessor sends the message to the LIS to tell the LIS about this slide image and the results that were deleted. So the LIS can remove the link from the patient file. So that's the preparation and the computation of the results. And the next day, cytotechnologists can start the work by, like they do every day, they open the LIS, they have a work list, they open the patient file, they will see a button or a link to open the slide in CytoProcessor. Then they will use CytoProcessor and the AI results to screen the slide. And most importantly, their goal will be to mark the important areas for the pathologist to review them. So the goal of the cytotechnologist is to prepare the diagnosis, prepare the report in the LIS, and mark areas of interest and cells of interest for the pathologist to look at them. That's what we call the clue zone. The mark areas in our solution, it's called clue zone, and I will use this term on the following slide. So areas of interest are clue zones. So that is the work of the cytotechnologist, and the pathologist will open also the LIS, look at its work list, so all the suspicious case, open the patient file. Once again, there will be a link to open the slide in CytoProcessor, and this time the pathologist will first check the areas of interest, the clue zones, already selected by the cytotechnologist. So the pathologist will first check what is prepared by the cytotechnologist, and after, if she wants to look at more results and look at the AI results, it's always possible. But the goal is really to first check what was prepared by the cytotechnologist. So once the report is finalized and the diagnosis is validated, the pathologist can go to the next case and go on the work list like that. So now let's have a look at the new features of CytoProcessor version 3.3. So one of the main new feature, it's a new module, an optional module to detect microorganisms. So that was something a lot of users were requesting from us. So we created a new detection tool based on deep learning. So it's different from what we do with the cells. And we are able to detect 4 categories of microorganisms: the Gardnerella, the mycosis, the actinomyces, and the trichomonas. So that tool uses GPU to compute the results. So it's an upgrade to do on the IT architecture to have this kind of GPU card. Because we had more information, now you have microorganism, we needed to redesign the user interface because we have more information to display. So as you can see, it's changing a bit for the ones who know. On the left, you have a bar where you will have the menu and you will find the 4 categories of cells like you were having before. But you also have now a small icon for microorganism. I want to add also here, but it's a bit technical, that we also improve the viewer performance by implementing WebGL support. So when you have a GPU card on your computer as a user, it will use the GPU to go faster, to display images, and to do some local processing. So it's a bit technical. Another important tool that we added is something for you to be able to discuss easily difficult cases or specific cells with colleagues when you have a doubt or when you have an interesting case. So you have 2 ways to collaborate and share something with someone else. You can share what you visualize in the viewer. So you can see here a small button to share. When you click on it, it will create a URL, what we call smart URL. And this URL, you can copy paste it into an email or WhatsApp or whatever you want to send this link to your colleague. And this colleague, if he has an account on the solution, when he clicks on it, he will see exactly what you see. So that's one way to collaborate and share. The other collaboration tool is the sharing of clue zone. So as you can see on the bottom part, you have different clue zones, and you have once again this button to share, and it will create a new URL that you can send to someone. And when you click on it, you will not see the viewer, but you will see the clue zone, exactly how it was done by the cytotechnologist or the person who collaborate with you. A new option also, it's regarding archiving, because as I told you, you define a retention policy. After 30 days, for example, you delete all slides. So we have a function, a feature that we were having before to archive a slide. When you were archiving, it was archived for all the time. So never it was deleted. Now when you archive, you can choose how long you want to keep the slide. So that's a feature that was requested from one of our users, because they want, when they have a positive case, keep the slide for 3 years, and after that delete it. But they also want to keep some slides forever for training purpose, for example. So we added this possibility into this new version. On top of clue zone, so clue zone is the tool to mark areas of interest. We also added a flag system. So this flag system, it's to mark some AI result, some thumbnail, because on the first page of the gallery of abnormal cells, we have 100 thumbnail. And so as a cytotechnologist, you can decide to choose what are the most important AI selection for the pathologist. So that way you think about the pathologist and the time that you can make him or her save. So when you click on the thumbnail, you can click on the small flag and it will add the thumbnail into the specific part in the menu where you see on the bar on the left in the orange circle. So when you will click here, you will have a list of all the flagged cells. So now you have clue zones and you have flagged cells to prepare the review by the pathologist. So what is also really important with CytoProcessor, it's integration capabilities. So it's a big advantage when you work with us. We are able to integrate to LIS, IMS, and even go deeper with you if you want. If you give us some specification, we can develop specific messages, for example, to integrate deeper with other systems of your lab. So, for example, on this version 3.3, the new messages are about clue zone creation, update, and deletion. So each time you will create, update, or delete a clue zone, we will send an HL7 message to the LIS, and inside this message you have like a screenshot of the clue zone. So the advantage is that the LIS can automatically add these screenshots to the reports, and when the slide image is deleted, you can still keep these important areas that we call clue zone. So that is a very interesting feature that a lot of people were waiting for. What we added also, it's bi-directional communication with LIS and IMS. Before version 3.3, CytoProcessor was sending message to the LIS server. Now LIS server can send us message. So for example, with a specific, what we call an API call, you can send information to CytoProcessor, for example, the diagnosis when the pathologist finalizes the report. In that case, to keep the same example, a CytoProcessor receives a diagnosis. If it's positive, it can automatically archive the slide for 3 years. And we can define other API call, like on an interesting or difficult slide, you want to see user activity report to check how many thumbnails were clicked, how many people look at the slide. So we can generate this kind of report also on your request. So other ideas are welcome, and we can always add new types of messages and interactions. And the last integration capability that I think is really important in this new version, it's what we call the OpenID Connect authentication protocol. So basically it's a bit technical, but what it means is that you can use the same login and password on different software solutions that you have in your lab. For example, if you have a LIS and another system using Active Directory, for the people who know, IT people, but then these users that you have in your Active Directory, but they will be automatically added to CytoProcessor when they try to connect. So now I will briefly speak about CytoLearning, which is our online training and certification solution. I wanted to speak about it because our users love it, and I think it's a really interesting and unique solution. So the goal is to train our users to comply with regulation. We have to verify that users are able to do the same quality of diagnostic when they switch from microscope to the screen. And we need to record these users' training and certification. So we decided to create CytoLearning that will manage that for us. How it works, we create an account, and you will have 4 batches to read. So you receive an email with a link. You click on this link, and you will have to review the first slide of the first batch. So you arrive on the screen. You click to open CytoProcessor on this slide. You review the slide. Once you know the diagnosis, you come back to CytoLearning. You click on Diagnose the slide. You will have a drop-down list where you will select the category of the diagnostic. And then you have access to a text area where you can fill in some description. For example, if you have a doubt, or if you think that the interpretation of this case is difficult, or you think about 2 different categories of diagnostic. So you can leave a message here to explain what is your doubt and your interpretation. What is interesting with this solution is that you immediately know if you were doing good if you were having the right diagnosis. So if it's good, it's green, orange, it's a minor discordance, and red, it's a big discordance. So you do your, you open the next slide, and you do that again until you finish the batch of 25 slides. At the end of this batch, you will be contacted by our application specialist, who will review and give you some feedback about your results. So that's the way we help you to adapt to our solution and to make you go faster in your training. So once you add this feedback and this review with our application specialist, the batch is validated and a new batch is made available for you. And so you will start again 25 slides until you finish the batch. To be certified, you have 4 batches to do, and you have to have a score greater than 90% of concordance on batch 3 and 4 to be successful and get the certification. So this is my last slide of the presentation. I will now hand over to Annette, who will do a demo for you of this new version of CytoProcessor.
Thank you, Arno. So I would like to act like a cytotechnologist in daily routine to show how to make a diagnosis on this slide. So when I click on to open the slide, I see immediately in the center, I see the cell spot of the scanned slide. And on the left, I see the first page of the abnormal gallery. But as you can see, the thumbnails are very small and the magnification is also too small to see quickly which cell is abnormal or not. So first I would show you how to change my user settings. It's a very simple way. So default magnification in the viewer. So let's do like the microscope 20x. And the default magnification of the thumbnail, I prefer the bigger, the best, to see very quickly, and I can easily assess the cell in the center of the thumbnail. And I also like to make the thumbnail a little bit bigger, so I can see a little bit around the thumbnail. I submit, and immediately you can see it changed in my favorite user settings. I make this a little bit smaller. So now it's a nice view to make easily and quickly a diagnosis. So I start reviewing the first page of the abnormal gallery. For making an accurate and reliable diagnosis, I must see the first 100 thumbnails of the first page of the abnormal gallery. This is validated in our clinical study. So I click on this one, is alarming me. I click on it, and you see here it's in the center as well in the viewer. And now I can see the cell in its context. I can take a look around. I can zoom in, zoom out. And even you see the nuclear details are sometimes a little bit not so clear. So, but we have a very nice sharpness or crispy button. So, and now I can see more details of the chromatin pattern. This is a nice cell, and I would keep it for the pathologist. So I click on this, or I click on the C on the keyboard. Then I go to the next cell I want to see in the viewer. This is also for me an abnormal cell, so I make a clue zone as well, and this one as well. So I put it like there, and then I'm scrolling down the first page, and as soon as something alarms me, I will click on it. So, but for this one I make a flag. I see another one here. I also make a flag here, and I'm going down. Oh, this one is also very nice. See the nice chromatin pattern. Make a clue zone. So, and I think there's nothing more I want to show to the pathologist. So then I will take a look if there are endocervical cells present. In this case, if there are endocervical cells, they are on the first page of the endocervical gallery. So I slowly scroll down. There it is. Here I see some endocervical cells. So I flag this, so if the pathologist want to see, he can look at he or she can look at the flag. Then I have to make also in my report if the hormone status of this case. So here I have the overview of all the galleries. And to go back, I can click on it, or I can just click there, and I'm back at the interface to make the diagnosis. So here I have my flag cells, and here I see now there is a microorganism present. So I click on the microorganism and it says it's bacterial vaginosis. So yes, I agree. So I click on to see also the microorganism in the viewer, and I make some flag some nice examples for the pathologist. You see there I make 2 flags, and now I go finalize this case. So I go to my clue zones, and here you see I made 4 clue zones, and now I'm going to label the clue zone. So I think this is 𝗂𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁. The color, it's critical, and I don't need a comment on this, and I will update. Then I go to the next one, also 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁, color critical, and I give an update. And this one, the same, I update. And this one, for sure, this also very nice 𝗁𝗁𝗁 cells, color critical. And to finalize this case, I would say 𝗓𝗓𝗃𝗃. So here you can give comment if you have a doubt or you want to explain something for the pathologist. Update. So now I am ready with this case. I will fill in the report in my list system, and then I can go to the next case. And now I will act like a pathologist. So I see some cases in my list. I will open the slide. And I see immediately that the cytotechnologist makes some clue zones to look at. And now I see there are some red ones, so these are important to look at first. Oh yes, I see now these are enlarged, and there's multinucleation. And when I use, so I see there is a crispy button, and because I miss a little bit the nuclear details, so I'm not sure. So let's do this one. It's the same. This is also because I see here, yes, I see here there are some mycosis. So I go back to this this cell, and now I would like to take the ruler to measure this nucleus, because we know it is in Bethesda exactly written how big reactive changes and how big 𝗂𝗁 cells must be. So this is between reactive changes and 𝗂𝗁s. So I will send these and share this picture with my colleagues. So I click on copy button and I send the link in the email. Also, I would like to see if my pathologist, the cytotechnician makes see some other things. So here is the mycosis, some nice example, and the clue zones are already done. So I agree with the cytotechnologist. I agree with mycosis, and I agree with reactive changes of the cells, and I also agree with reactive cell changes or 𝗂𝗁s. So I finish this case. I'm waiting for the answer of my colleague to finalize this case. And now I give back to Arno.
So now we can start the question and answer session. So I don't see many questions in the chat. First, I can tell you more about the different configuration, what I call configuration that are available for CytoProcessor. So we have we validated 𝗔𝗵𝘃 slides using P1000 and P480 scanners from 3DISTEC using our staining protocol. And this staining protocol is optimized to show crispy details in the nuclei, which are really important when you make a diagnosis. And it's also really important for the AI to compute the best results as possible. We also validated 𝗪𝗁 Diagnostics IDC20 machine on different scanners, on P250, P480, P1000 from 3DISTEC. Also on the 𝗪𝗵𝘆 𝗪𝗵𝘆 and this is something that I kept for you. It's part of the one more thing I wanted to tell you about is we also finalized an adaptation to the Leica GT450DX for 𝗪𝗁 IDC20 machine. So not yet using 𝗔𝗵𝘃 slides, but for this preparation from the French company 𝗪𝗁 Diagnostics, because it's a real monolayer and we can use only one focal plane image. I'm checking if I have other questions now. So one of the questions is, when can the version 3.3 be deployed at current customer sites? So it will be available as soon as next month, January 2025. We can install the solution next month in January. So I see that you have also questions about DICOM. I did not mention a lot DICOM because for now it's we integrated the DICOM format from 3DISTEC for visualization. We did not yet validate the equivalence of results between DICOM and 𝗪𝗵𝘆 files. But in the future, on the next release of CytoProcessor, we will focus more and more on DICOM format, because it's the future and it's the standard that more and more customers will use. And with the integration to IMS, for example, the DICOM file format will be more and more used, a bit like in the past with radiology. So there are still differences between the different DICOM format. For example, a DICOM from 3DISTEC will be different from a DICOM from Leica, but we will do the development effort to integrate all these DICOM formats. And there's no specific issue for analyzing with AI DICOM file format. It's like a proprietary image format. It's the same for us. Just when we convert an image file proprietary to DICOM, we have to check that we have exactly the same values at the pixel level and that the results of CytoProcessor are equivalent on the two formats. I'm checking if just about the staining protocol. I did not speak a lot about it, but we give to you a staining protocol to follow based on Merck reagents. It's not the same between, for example, 𝗔𝗵𝘃 and 𝗪𝗁 Diagnostics, because the preservation liquid is not composed the same. So the chemical reactions are different. So we have one staining protocol for the cytol that is sold with the IDC20 machine. We have one staining protocol for 𝗔𝗵𝘃 with the preserved CIT liquid. and our customers adapt the program on their stainer to follow the staining protocol. It's not a big issue, and most of the time they are really happy about the rendering. The images are really beautiful. We have a lot of details in the nuclei, a lot of contrast between the nuclei and the cytoplasm, and that's really well appreciated. So yeah, I have a question about how many exams have been processed this year with our software. So it's about 200,000, 250,000 slides this year. We will have the exact number in 2 weeks. So that's cumulative, so each year we process this quantity plus the ones from new customers, and so we will reach soon the 1 million slide processed into clinical routine, so in a real world context, I would say. Are you testing other scanners like 𝗵𝗵𝘆? That's the plan, and that's what we are doing in the currently. We check which other scanners can be good candidates for cytology. What is important is to have a Z-stack. When you process thin prep slides, for example, you need a Z-stack. And also what we call the extended focus option, or the extended depth of field algorithm, which makes from a Z-stack one layer image, which is what the CytoProcessor take as input. So I think I will now, already you saw that because I spoke about it, so it was my one more thing, a bit like Steve Jobs when he presents Apple things. So it's under the CE-IVD label, Leica GT450DX on 𝗵𝗀 machine, and we do even better because we have two more things to introduce to you, because we also release CytoProcessor Research, so it's not the same product. It cannot be used for diagnostic purpose for now. We are working on it. Since many years, I tell you about the difficulties we have on 𝗵𝗆 slides because of the thickness. We finally have a first version, but still only for research. It works on P1000 and P480 from 3DStech. We need a lot of layers to get enough good quality to give you the best result possible. So if you are interested to buy this version, because we also sell this version, and we will collaborate with customers to finalize and go to the IVDR regulation when the product will be ready. So this is the end of this webinar. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the questions. I want to remind you this email address, sales@datexim.ai, to contact us. Please don't hesitate. We can open for you demo account on the version 3.3 if you want to try it, play with it. It will be a pleasure, and if you are interested also by working with us on 𝗵𝗆𝗆, for example, that's also something we are interested by. I have another comment here. I believe Leica is launching this stack. Do you have an idea on how will be available Leica? On how will be, we don't have yet idea. They launch this stack. They will have their own extended depth of focus algorithm, and we will probably work on this scanner with this new feature to adapt it to thin prep. So more information to come on that in the next month. Thank you, and have a nice evening.